Auspicious greeting, everyone. Welcome to our first Future and Hope public lecture series organized by Fo Guangshan Buddhist Temple, Boston. My name is Kong and I'm the MC for today's event. On behalf of BLA Boston, I would like to welcome our speaker today, Venerable Huidong. Auspicious greeting, Venerable Huidong. We are delighted and it's our honor to host you today. Venerable Huidong is currently the abbot of Fo Guangshan Shilai Temple. He also served in the Board of Trustees for the University of the West. Before we begin, I would like to invite the director of Fo Guangshan Buddhist Temple, Boston, Venerable Jie Chen, for an opening speech. I will now pass the session to Venerable Jie Chen. Please, Venerable Jie Chen.
Venerable Jie Chen, you are on mute.
Okay. Again, thank you to our MC, Guang Hui, and auspicious greeting to Venerable Huidong and everyone. Tonight, we are very happy to have Venerable Huidong with us to give the public talk and all of you online attending this public talk. Due to the pandemic, most of the Dharma service and classes have shifted to online. Therefore, BRI Boston chapter initiated the monthly Dharma talk in both English and Mandarin in order for us to continue listening to the Dharma and continue our cultivation. And today we have Venerable Huidong sharing with us how to look at the COVID-19 pandemic and how to deal with it from the Buddhist perspective, which is very related to us in this period of time. So once again, thank you to Venerable Huidong for accepting our invitations to give the talk, and also all of you coming together, listening to the Dharma talk. And I will give back to the MC.
Thank you very much, Jie Chen, for your wonderful opening speech. I will now explain the structure and the technical aspects of the talk. The talk will last for an hour, followed by a 30 minutes Q&A session. After the talk or anytime during the talk, I would like to welcome you to ask questions by typing directly on Zoom using the Q&A function that you can see at the bottom of your window. Or if you're watching this talk on YouTube, you can type your question directly on YouTube. We will have volunteers to transfer the questions from YouTube to Zoom, of which, and I will redirect the questions to Venerable Huidong, and I will invite Venerable Huidong to provide guidance to us. Before we begin, without further delay, let us welcome our speaker, Venerable Huidong, whose title of the talk today is How to Look at the COVID-19 Pandemic and Deal with It from the Buddhist Perspective. Please, let us welcome Venerable Huidong.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to be here with all of you tonight. As you can see on the background of my screen, this is a Shilai Temple, which is located in Hacienda Heights, California. The pandemic doesn't just do a lot of damages to our human world, but also, it's provide us the opportunity to take more advantage of the technology so that we can talk to each other online more often. First, I want to thank BLIA Boston chapter and the Venerable Jie Chen for inviting me to share some thoughts on the COVID-19 pandemic from the Buddhist perspective. And also, thank you for being with us for tonight and for this 1.5 hours. And I will share the screen of my PowerPoint so that you can also see on the screen of what I'm talking about here. The COVID-19 pandemic is a serious global health crisis. According to WHO, till today, there are more than 8 million confirmed cases in the world and more than 2 million in the US. And more than 450,000 people died of coronavirus globally. The pandemic also caused crisis to the world economy and inconvenience to people's life. And lots of people cannot go to work and they have to stay at home and work from home. It also brought lots of stress to people's mind. Some are worried, some have a fear and even anxiety. Here you can see many states are in the, they're no longer in the lockdown or stay under the stay-at-home order. But this map shows, you know, at its peak, how many states are affected. Almost all the states in the United States and many countries in the world were hit by the pandemic. Not only does COVID-19 pandemic cause damages to the world, but also change the world and change people's behavior. And from this picture, you can see.
I'm sorry, Venerable.
Yes.
May I interrupt? I can only see the first slide of your PowerPoint, which is the title slide. I cannot see the map.
All right. Can you see the numbers? The page?
I'm only seeing like the first page, which is the title page, how to look at and deal with the COVID-19 pandemic.
All right, let me adjust it a bit. Okay. I'm gonna share it again. What about now?
We can see the numbers now. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. This page shows the data on the website of the WHO, showing the numbers of confirmed cases in the world and also confirmed death, the number of confirmed deaths in the world. And in the United States, there have been more than 2 million people affected the coronavirus. And this is the very serious health crisis in the world. Can you see the map now?
Yes, we can see the map and the posters.
Okay, and here the picture shows many states are used to be under the order of stay at home, and many schools are closed, still remain closed, and the people and the many stores were closed. Therefore, the COVID-19 really changed the world. It put a hold on the world economy, and most of the country and the state governments announced the stay-at-home orders. Many stores and offices are closed, and especially if they are not essential. Many people work from home and shop from home. And for many schools, online education is the only choice for students to take classes. And this picture shows the empty streets on the left is in New York City, and on the right, the top of the right is downtown LA. Used to be, these streets used to be very crowded. Lots of people walking on it. And however, right now, actually these are probably the pictures were taken a month ago. They became a ghost town. And the beaches, the picture also shows a beach in California. nobody were there. Of course, they were closed, and now the government reopened the beach. But it just shows how serious the pandemic is. It still is. It's a very serious situation here. It's also changed human behavior. We see people are now it's become a new form, a new social norm that people wear face masks and staying with the social distancing. And in the picture, you see at Costco and people are waiting in the line. And they also have to remain the social distancing. Not only the social life, but also the religious life. This picture shows the religious rituals. Right now also have to be convened online without participants. And here on the left, it's a big annual ceremony at Fogwangshan in Taiwan. In the picture, you can see only the monastics are in the ceremony, and people attend the ceremony from home online. And on the right, it shows the Pope actually was conducting the ceremony at a church, a Catholic church, with no people there, with no participants in there. It's really changed the world. And so how do we look at the pandemic from the different perspectives? The social, this perspective that most of the people have, and also the Buddhist perspective. I would say it's also a objective between objective perspective and the subjective perspective. Because for the most of people, when they look at the world, look at things happening in their life, they will make the judgment of good or bad. If it's favorable to them, if it's beneficial to them, they will see it as a good. And if it's not, they will see it's something they need to fight against. From the Buddhist perspective, however, we see we're supposed to be looking at things from not just make the judgment, not make judgment of good or bad, but to deal with it and look at things as they are. Maybe they are not in our favor. However, we still have to deal with them. We still have to do things that would benefit others, even though sometimes it means sacrifice to us. And here this picture shows people after staying at home for some time, they came out to the street and protest. They don't want to stay at home any longer. So that's just the way it is, because of the people. A lot of time, people don't have that patience to really to follow the orders from of the government. Of course, they have the right to do that. So the objective observation of the pandemic is just do things as simply deal with the things. And this picture shows many people, the frontline workers, they, even though at the peak of the pandemic in the United States here, it shows they have to go to work because they work in essential business. They work at hospitals. The police officers have to, they keep the cities in order firefighters, and they have to help people, even though that means they have the danger to affect the virus. Well, when we look at the human history, we see the pandemic. Well, this, the COVID-19 pandemic is not the only one. And the pandemic or the plagues are not the only type of disasters in the human world. There are tornadoes and there are flooding. And here the picture shows that the 1918 flu pandemic. It killed lots of people, and I have the number here from online information. It killed somewhere between 17 million people to 50 million people. It costed a lot of people's life. And just when we look at these pandemics or plagues, it just all these disasters from the Buddhist perspective. And when causes and conditions are right, they just happened. And we just human beings, we just have to fight against them. And of course, we gain experiences from fighting against these disasters, and we grow stronger. Here, it shows a booklet. It's called Buddhism and Healing, which is an article published in 2003, in June 2003, by Master Xing Yun, the founder of the Foguangshan Buddhist order. And of course, in all the Buddhist temples, Foguangshan Buddhist temples in the world, there are over 200 of them, were actually founded by Master Xing Yun. The picture shows Master Xing Yun. And he gave this, his suggestions to people to how to deal with illness, to look at illness from the Buddhist perspective. And of course, this booklet, you can download it for free from the website of Foguangshan International Translation Center. You can find the link of their website from Shilai Temple's website. In this article, Master Xing Yun gave suggestions to the people. When people are healthy, and they need to take care of it, of course, take care of their health and living. He encourages people to live a healthy lifestyle, and by, of course, eating vegetarian food is also part of the. It's a very healthy lifestyle, and we know there's a pandemic, the COVID-19. Actually the virus, the coronavirus, were originated from the animals. And therefore, protecting the animals, protecting our environment, actually is protecting ourselves. And if we do get sick sometime, if we're ill, and how do we look at it? From the Buddhist perspective, Master Xing Yun says, sometimes being sick is not necessarily always be a bad thing, because it also reminds us the truth about our body, human body. Well, in Buddhism, actually, the birth, aging, illness, and death are part of this truth. We see all human beings, including the Buddha himself, are subject to birth, aging, illness, and death. Of course, after the awakening through his diligent practice, the Buddha is out of this cycle of rebirth. And there was a time in the Buddhist literature actually recorded a story. Ananda, the Buddha's servant, also the Buddha's cousin, once asked the Buddha. He asked the Buddha, as a Buddha with all the supernatural powers, with the perfection of wisdom, why you sometimes still get sick? And still, when you get older, your body become weak. And the Buddha told Ananda, his disciple, that the human's body actually consists of the 4 elements: the earth, which is the solid parts of our body, solidity, and water, liquidity. We know the human's body actually more than 75% of human body is water. So earth, water, the heat, and air. These 4 elements are actually, the combination of them is the human body, made the human body. And when they are not in balance, people get sick. And also human's body are based on the nutrition that we intake, and the human bodies grow. And also they are subject to decay as well when the conditions changed. When people get older and the balance, it's hard for people to maintain the balance. It's not like young people. And many of us know that. So this is this is the truth. This is a part of the nature, and no one can change it. And this is the conversation recorded in the Buddhist literature. And from this conversation, and it gives us actually this the Buddha also gives us a teaching. It's what exactly is human body? The 4 elements, and how should we look at the human body? Human body, most of nowadays, a lot of people would look at it as just focusing on the beauty of a human body, and when people are young and healthy, feel strong, and this is a good side of the human body. But actually, the objective, from the objective perspective, human body is subject to decay, and also it's we can see it's actually this is a way to look at it from it's a negative perspective. It's seeing the body is made of the hair, skin, bones, and also all the internal organs, and all these are subject to decay and subject to sickness as well. This is why everyone is subject to illness. And however, most of the people would think this body is part of me. This is I. Of course, we also have the mind. We have a lot of thoughts, emotions, feelings, and all these are part of this I. However, if we really look at them closely, the body and the mind, are they really I? Really, is this a sense of ego, sense of self really exists? This pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, really gives us reminds us again of who is this I. When virus comes, if this is there is an I, and we can refuse, decline to take it. But our body doesn't function that way. When the virus comes, exists in our surroundings, if we don't follow the procedures to protect ourselves, if we don't wear the face masks, if we don't keep the social distancing, if we don't wash our hands often enough, and there's always a danger for the body to catch, to affect the virus, the coronavirus. The body doesn't listen to our order. Therefore, it doesn't really show, it doesn't really, just showing the sign as this is a me. And speaking of the mind, when people are sick and they feel suffer, and even sometimes when people, even for those who are healthy, who are not catching, affecting the virus, and many people have a fear. This is the negative emotion of the mind. However, a lot of people just cannot control it. When the virus are in the surroundings, when people around us, some of the people around us got sick, and this fear just comes to the mind, we cannot really say, get out from my mind. So the mind and the body, it really just gives us, let us think whether this is really me. And in Buddhism, we learn the lesson, it's a cause and effect. Everything is under the law of cause and effect. There's no I, there's no anyone, any entity that can control things happening in our life. And to live a happy and carefree life, and we have to understand the law of cause and effect. And we have to follow and understand it, and also follow the right conditions, and therefore, and lead it to the satisfying, the favorable outcomes, consequences. And therefore, Master Xing Yun, the founder of Foguangshan and the Shilai Temple, and he promotes humanistic Buddhism, and we cultivate the good in life and try to avoid the bad. Of course, this is also the Buddhist teaching, the Shakyamuni Buddhist teaching. But in our world, and how do we do that? And if we can control the three gates of our mind, to our mind, our words, we control it verbally, and we control our actions, and the mind itself, the thoughts. And then we are actually guarding the three gates. Therefore, as long as we do good deeds, say good words, and have good thoughts, and we will have a happy life. But it's not that simple to do it. When people are becoming emotional, it's hard for them. Let's say sometimes people get upset, and it's hard for them to still say good words. When people are seeing their enemies are in hard situations, it's hard for them to lend their their hand to help them. So do good deeds, say good words, and always have positive thinking, have those positive thoughts. It's easy to understand. However, it's not that easy to really do it in life. Well, this picture shows the news actually is in a young man in Maryland. The 16-year-old student pilot flying his a private aircraft and to deliver medical supplies to rural hospitals during the pandemic. And he's only 16 years old. And when his school closed and his favorite sports lacrosse season ended unexpectedly, and he decided to do something, to do some good things, to do some meaningful things to help others. And this it really shows the everyone can do it, as long as we just keep our mind positive and we do these things, and these actions will get back to our mind and with a positive energy, and we can overcome our the difficulties in our life. So it's when we help others, we're not just helping others, other people. We are helping ourselves as well, because of this satisfying feelings getting back to our, when we see people get helped, people because of our actions, and our actions change their lives, and these the actions of the effect will get back to our mind as well. And here it shows the BLIA members and also the monastic members are actually donated medical supplies to the local hospitals and the police officers. And however, it's just as we mentioned earlier, it just needs some more patience. And sometimes, because we also compare this experience with the practice of meditation. For those who have experience meditating, and they know how hard it is at the beginning, even just after a few minutes, and the mind will push out all different thoughts as there's so many important things that we need to accomplish, and just all different thoughts will just push you to stand up and quit the practice of meditation. And here it is, after just a few days at home, and many people can just go out to the street. And of course, they have very legit reasons, the freedom, liberty, economy. But especially at the peak of the pandemic, staying at home will help the country, help the nation to contain the virus. And that is actually the most productive thing to do. Of course, there are many people who work in the essential business, and they come out to work and help maintain the world, the country, the society keep functioning. And I remember not long ago, we had a conversation with some the YAD members, the youth division of BLAA, the Buddhist Light International Association, and also one very 15, I forgot it, a little girl, 14 or 15 years old in San Francisco. And she is a student, and however, she has a part-time job at a grocery store. And grocery stores are essential business. And her coworkers actually, many full-time employees quit the job because of they have fear of getting affecting the virus. And she kept working there and even covered some other people's shifts and to help people in her community. And this is something. And when we had this conversation, she it's also an online meeting conference, and this girl really shows her peace of the mind. She was a very calm, and also she said she didn't have a fear. She did have a fear at the beginning. However, when she worked there and helped people, and eventually those fear, those negative emotions are gone. And sometimes even she had to face some discriminative words and actions from other people. And she just get rid of those fear and the negative emotions. So when we come out in how to deal with these negativities in the mind, and coming out to help others is very important. Actually, it's a very a key way to get rid of those. Of course, speaking of the coming out, I'm not saying when we are under the staying at home order, still come out. Come out if it's necessary, if it's in essential business. And these, when we protect ourselves well, putting on the face mask, with the gloves, with the wash our hands often, keep the social distancing. Actually, this is good enough to protect us, and this is the will help us to overcome the fear. So the world that we are seeing is a reflection of our own mind. In today's world, whenever there's a crisis, we see people pointing fingers to each other rather than looking at or improve themselves. That is that's just the way it is in today's world. However, we know, like the little girl we mentioned, she when she becomes brave, when she comes out to help others, she actually tuned her mind to become courageous, to become compassionate. And most of the people actually she met were very nice people. They appreciate people work in the essential business to help them. And they really see the beauty of the world. And that really just tone the mind to tune the mind, and eventually through this mind, see the world as a beautiful world. And this is it's just, if we want to see a beautiful world, we live a happy life, and we need to start with our own mind. And what should we do to with how to deal with the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic? And we know from the Buddhist perspective, we see everything, things happening in the world are not always in our way, in our favor. However, they're also part of the truth, a part of the reality. And we just need to adapt ourselves to the world. And the world will not go back to what it was. However, it's always full of potentials and opportunities to be great and beautiful. And we just need to be the light in our own life and be the light to other people. And now I'm gonna show everyone a very short video clip, which is on the Xilai Temple's website. And it shows how brave people are, especially those who are working in the essential business, in the front line. And this, I'm gonna show this video to you.
Sorry, Venerable, we cannot see the video.
Oh, not?
We are only seeing your PowerPoint.
Probably I have to turn off.
Yeah, maybe you want to minimize it so that you can open it later.
Let me share the screen again. Can you see it now?
Yes, thank you. Yes, we can.
Thank you.
Compassionate Buddha, we pray for guidance all through the dark. We pray for pureness of heart and a peace of mind.
Oh, great compassionate Buddha, in these trying times, we pray for faith in each other and all of mankind.
May we find peace in the silence, hope in the midst of it all. May we be the light. May we give joy and convenience, confidence to one and all through the night.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
도착. 감사합니다.
Terima kasih.
Maraming salamat po.
Oh, great compassionate Buddha, we pray for wisdom all over the world. We pray for all of our leaders to make the right choice.
Oh, great compassionate Buddha, may the compassion you've taught us shine through, and may we all be the bearers of your noble truth.
Thank you, everyone. Nurses,
It's the 1918
doctors,
pandemic
first responders for helping during this COVID.
Dankeschön.
Dankeschön.
Merci. Grazie.
Hamasiganalo.
Cảm ơn. Vielen Dank.
आप सबको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
Cảm ơn.
Mamatusuta. Obrigado. Gracias.
May we respect and protect all of life.
Hope in the midst of it all. May we be the love. May we give joy and peace, confidence to one and all. All through the night, we do good, speak good, think good, and may we be the light. Do good, speak good, think good, so that we'll be the light.
Gracias. Chile. Obrigado.
Arigatou gozaimasu. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Gracias desde Argentina.
Come on.
Dhanyavad, India.
Thank you, first responders.
Stay strong.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This song was composed by the students, actually teachers and students at Guangming University in the Philippines, and the lyrics were written by Master Xing Yun. And today, this lecture, I will end my talk here, which is talks about how do we look at the pandemic from the Buddhist perspective, from the objective perspective. It not necessarily means it's only uniquely belongs to this perspective, belongs to Buddhists. Actually, we see those frontline workers, they all are so brave, so selflessly helping others. And actually, they are a good representation of the objective perspective. And now we're gonna go to the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your very inspiring talk, like Venerable Huitong, and it's our honor that we can listen to your guidance today. I mean, like, I really enjoyed the video. Thank you for showing us, and thank you to the students from Guangming Temple in Philippines, if not mistaken. And I would like to take this opportunity to express our gratitude towards all the first responders that helped us to go through this pandemic. Thank you all for the doctors and the nurses and everyone for doing this. Right now, let's now begin the Q&A sessions. I would like to welcome all the participants to type your questions directly either on YouTube in the chat room, or if you are listening to us on Zoom, you can use the Q&A function that you can see at the bottom of the screen. You can type your questions directly, and then I will redirect them to Venerable Huitong for his guidance. Maybe I will just give you a little bit time to type your questions. I mean, if I may I ask a question, Venerable Huitong?
So I saw one question. Are you gonna repeat it, read it out, or?
Oh no, I can. Yep, I can read it out, please. Is it an entirely correct view that someone view this pandemic as a collective karma? And then people who have suffered this, is it due to their karmic contribution? Please, Venerable Huitong.
Okay. Yeah, this is actually, it's a more, a theoretical question. It's a conceptual word. It's about karma. Karma, there are different types of karma. There are collective karma, which means actually the karma is not just it's our own karma, one person's karma, but also it's actually linking to other people's karma as well. And of course, there are personal karmas. And this pandemic actually really gives us a very good example of both personal and collective karmas. And in reality, these karmas actually functions always are intertwined together. The pandemic actually, it's originated actually from other countries, and lots of people getting affected this the coronavirus, and then that would affect people around them. So this is not just one person's karma; it's a collective karma. And for those who are staying at home, because of other people, there are people who are affected with the virus, and therefore the whole city, maybe even the country, got locked down, and people have to stay at home, and something would just happen afterwards. This is some people I talked to someone. Some people were actually very grateful of staying at home. Especially with their family members. A lady told me that actually it's very hard for her to find a time to stay for that long with her son, who is working in New York. She's in California, and however, these days she finally get a chance, get a time to stay longer with her son. This is actually it's of course it's involved the personal karma because of the karma, by the way, it means effect of the past experiences, and because of the connection between her and her son, and she has been always wanting to stay with her son longer. This is her personal idea, a personal karma, or it's just a karma between her and her son. But this is also, it's involved the collective karma with the people in the city, in California, or even in the nation, and that caused the fact that she's able to stay longer with her son. So that just to give us a good example of a collective karma and personal karma. And you also asked about the pessimistic, or this is this is an optimistic, or this is not about the good or bad. Whether it's a pessimistic, it's just it. When we project our feelings and make our judgments, when there's a judgment, there's a feelings, there's a thoughts behind it. But actually, it's good or bad, it's really hard to say. And the things also, happens. So one thing will lead to other things happen. And we also see, because of the people staying at home longer, and they're not used to it, and it caused more family violence. And even in some places, the divorce rate goes up because of the people staying at home with their family members for too long, and they're not used to it. And then they have quarrels, they fight, and eventually leads to other things. So good things are sometimes, if we don't really have the wisdom to deal with them, it could turn out otherwise. So it's not about the good or bad. It's just ways as they are.
Thank you, Venerable Huitung, for your guidance. We have a next question from Luis. So he asks, at this time of pandemic crisis, there's also a lot of social unrest. Is this because the society is unfair? There's a lack of fairness, such as there's a huge wealth gap in between like different ethnic groups, and that's the reason why some people have access to resources such as PPE, but while some don't have access to them. And also some have the luxury to work from home, while some do not have this kind of luxury. As a Buddhist, how do we strive to make the society a more fair place to live in?
That is a good question. Especially nowadays, we see the protests, we see a lot of emotions and emotional things are happening in the world, not just in the United States. And from the Buddhist perspective, of course, this world is not fair. You know, there's actually in the human history and in the world, there have never been a time that everything is fair. There's always something that is not fair. And how to make it the world fair? Again, from our heart. I'm not sure if you remember the slides that I showed earlier. The world is actually a reflection of our own mind. Seeing the world as that is not fair, of course, because of we see things and we differentiate good and bad, right or wrong. But if we really look at the situations, different situations, not just the situations involves the races and now that we see covered by the news, but also a lot of things in our life. When people have arguments, debates, and they are actually representing, they're standing from different views, different viewpoints, different sides. It's hard to say which one. In a lot of situations, it's hard to say which one is right, which one is wrong. It really depends on the which side you are on. And if we seeing this, which is a seemingly it's very hard to solve. But if we tune our mind to be more, to give some compassion to the people on the other side, on the opposite side even, and say good words and have good thoughts to them, and do good things to them, and we will see things will change. It's not about right or wrong, fair or not fair. It's about whether our mind is in agitation, with hate, with the bitterness, or with the compassion, or with love. Therefore, the Buddha says, hate can never be ended by hate. It can only be ended by love. So if all the people in the world have a more understanding of others, gives love, share their compassion, gives compassion to other people, even the people who are on the opposite side, and we will have a very peaceful world. It's not about fair or not fair. It's about whether we have a compassionate mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Huitung. We have a question from Lin Lin. Would you recommend practicing meditation to calm our mind, to overcome fear and uncertainty during this period of time? And she also asked, does Fo Guangshan have any online meditation sessions?
Fo Guangshan, I'll answer the second question first. Fo Guangshan and Xile Temple, we actually, we do have online meditation classes, and the next session session of our meditation live meditation classes will start very soon, probably next in July. In July, we will start another session. Practice of meditation is a very useful tool to calm our mind and and even to give rise, let our mind to have a wisdom. And what is a wisdom? It's really just to see the world from different sides, from different angles, from different aspects, not just from the aspect that involved ourselves, involved, whether this is the beneficial to ourselves. So when we practice meditation, what the mind is really doing is constantly fighting against your own thoughts. Your own thoughts, your mind, keeps pushing out ideas and trying to convince you to do something else, to make you feel comfortable in some ways. Sometimes it might not be the best way for you. You have to be aware of that, and you have to overcome those thoughts and those feelings. Sometimes, for example, many people would experience the pain from their body, different parts of the body, is especially from the legs or the back. But this sometimes it's just because of your body and your mind is not used to that gesture, used to the way sitting for that long, similar to the stay-at-home order. Even at the beginning, they feel excited and work from home, and some people they work from home and very excited, or seeing a long time no see family members, and they were happy. But after some time, because of those things or conditions will change their habits, and then they started to have those quarrels and fights, and everything that comes from the mind. We need to be aware of it. We need to overcome ourselves. There are those negativities in our own mind, and that is how meditation helps our mind in peace. At the same time, it gives rise to the understanding of our own mind, wisdom. Yes, it is very helpful, and I encourage everyone to do it. And it's not about faith. It's not about religion. It's just about understanding ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable. We have a question from Mui. She asked, how is this related to environment influence? We usually get pulled into a reaction in the group. I assume what she's trying to say is that, how is this related to by people surrounding you? How do we not get affected by negative emotions of the people around you? This is what I think what she's trying to ask.
Yeah, that's another great question, because of almost everyone would run into these situations. We are actually, everyone is surrounded. We are living in the world, in the society. We have different people around us, and not everyone everyone likes us, or we like everyone around us. So how to not be affected by sometimes the negative situations? Thinking of what we have discussed earlier, is there really a self, an I? When we feel upset about other people, some words other people said, some things other people did to us, and then it's just emotions, feelings, thoughts, on our mind that are negative. And if we really focus on these effects on our mind rather than what other people said or did to us, it's much manageable, much more easier for us to manage situation. And because we just need to deal with these effects, these emotions, these the mental qualities, these qualities on our mind, rather than to go out to fight with other people, because we just cannot change how other people think about ourselves. So and tune our mind to be more to be in peace, more compassionate, with love, with understanding of other people's disagreement, and that is the key. So definitely practice meditation, and also having it even just to have these understandings. Keep thinking from this perspective, from these angles, focusing on our mind, tune our mind. We shouldn't just get upset of other people's words, and then they have their reasons to say those things or did those things, and then we will feel at ease, and we'll ease our own mind from those situations, and that is the key. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable. And there we have a question. As a Buddhist, what can we do to help in this pandemic?
Again, the three key things: do good deeds, say good words, and have good thoughts. And exactly what these the good things are, good deeds are. And when we do things, whether we stay at home or go out to work, we still it's still it's still a lot of things are happening in our life. And as long as we do things that will benefit others, will give, it's also promoted by Master Xing Yun, the four givings. Things we do, words we say are encouraging, giving people convenience, hope, joy, and confidence. And those are considered good things. Let's say, and also nowadays, like follow the orders from the county, from the government. It's also good things to do. Like what we talked about earlier, staying at home under the order of a stay-at-home order, and that is a good thing to do because it will help contain the virus. So sometimes it's not that hard. It's not like we keep going out and look for things and look people who are more miserable than us, and then we go out to help them. Sometimes it's just that simple. Stay at home, or sometimes and just help some neighbors. Or when people have a disagreement, rather than yelling back to them, give them a smile. And that is a good thing to do. And that really shows the positiveness of our own mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable. I'm looking at the questions now, and I found that there are several repetitive questions. I will try to combine them. So I'm seeing that, so Jackie asked, in this pandemic, how do we deal with anxiety for the bad changes? For example, unemployment. And Lin also asked, how do we overcome fear in these uncertainty times?
There's those are great questions, and they are related. To some very hard situations like unemployment, there's no easy way to solve them, and However, if we really look at things from the point of view of the cause and effect, in these some difficult situations, what we need to do is be more patient and also keep doing the right things, like learning some new skills, you know, so work harder to get some more information, and of course to help others and make good connections with other people will also help to have more beneficial, more favorable conditions. And lots of people, actually there are lots of people who are who have their new jobs or who find new jobs, not because they're looking for one. It's just simply because of when they are making good connections with other people, and those good things that just happen to them. The good things that find them. So when we cultivate the good conditions, the good causes, and the good consequences will follow. This is the Buddha also mentioned, actually emphasized that as well. As long as we do all the cultivate all the good causes, the good effect will follow, just like the cart follow the footprint of the ox. So this is the Buddhism metaphor. And to deal with the anxiety, some negative qualities in the mind is actually start to practice meditation might not be the most convenient or the most handy way to solve the problem, because it takes time. However, when we try to understand these thoughts, a lot of time these anxieties or these feelings or emotions are, when it's start to take effect on the mind, it's like it's just like the tsunami. It's keep pushing the mind to the point, to the edge. And how to do it? Go out to stay with your positive friends, the friends who will always be, are positive, and also to do something that will help others. Psychologists use to ask questions to those who have anxiety, not necessary to be really have the mental challenges and chronic challenges. It's just by asking the question whether how long have you for how long you haven't really talked to a stranger, and how long haven't you helped others? For those who really have the mental challenges and anxiety, and almost all of them for a long time haven't talked to a stranger, say encouraging words to others. And by doing these, we're actually tuning our own mind, because of all these actions, all these words come from our own mind. When we say encouraging positive things, do positive things to help others, we're actually the first person feels that is ourselves. So starting by doing good deeds, doing good things, that is even more helpful than start to learn meditation. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable. I'm also seeing similar questions from the Q&A, so I will try to combine them. So we have a question from Jin T. Do you think right now there's an ongoing movement trying to advocate for the rights and equality for the minority? For example, the African American community in the United States. Is this acceptable to do this during the pandemic period from a Buddhist perspective? And someone else also asked, do Buddhists recommend peace, or should we stand up for rights? And how do we define what is right?
That's a great question. Equality is very important to us, to everyone, to the world. And but how to have equality? It's not actually by fighting against others, try to get something from others, try to overcome others so that we can be superior or even just staying at the same line with others. Because of those, there's no fixed standards for what exactly means by being equal. And there are always, no matter how good sometimes we see, no matter how good we treat others, and not everyone really appreciate our help, right? It happens to everyone. But it also shows how we understand our own mind and people's mind. And even ourselves, sometimes, we don't understand why we did something in the past. And, because of when things change, when situations are different, and the people have different thoughts, different understandings, different perceptions of the world and of what people do. So it's very hard to really require from outside to have equality. Equality is from our own mind. When we are happy, when we have a more understanding of other people, how other people live their lives, and sometimes we just be more patient, and our own mind will see, will treat different situations, different conditions equally. And that is a Buddhist way to practice equality, not by asking the outside world. And this is not, I didn't mean to say, to give comment on the current situation in the world and in the country. I'm just saying from the Buddhist perspective, how to look at equality and how to get equality for ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable. We have a question from the audience. Nick asked, if we pray to Buddha or Guanding Bodhisattva to protect us, why can't we see that they come to save us?
Well, again, maybe you did get the blessings from the Guanyin, from the Bodhisattvas, from the sages, but whether we really know that. I think to everyone, we all have the Bodhisattvas, our angels around us, and the first ones are our parents. But we see not everyone really appreciate their own parents for raising them, for bringing them education, for their love. Well, a lot of time, and we see children are, even had fight with their parents. But even though the children are, sometimes the children are not appreciative, and their parents still love them. and their parents are their guanyin, are their bodhisattvas. So try to let go our own feelings and whether we feel happy about something. We try to see other people's, how we can help other people. And eventually we can learn how to appreciate love and blessings and help from others. And then we will feel really receive the blessings. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable. Due to time constraint, I'm afraid that I can perhaps take a few more questions. So I will just keep on. So we have a question from John Lee Baker. This is a question from Denver. Many people think that the pandemic is over and they do not wear face coverings anymore, or they don't keep social distance or stay at home. What do you do when you have to come in contact with them? For example, if that person, if it's your boss, whom you cannot avoid.
Well, sometimes, you know, I know that the situation is always difficult to, for different people, it's a different difficult to deal with the situation. I think it just, it also depends on how ourselves react to it. And just very honestly letting people know our own feelings very truthfully and very honestly about how we feel about it. You know, that's eventually, I think people will understand. The boss will not just, you know, terminate someone because of they say they have a fear of, you know, he or she, the boss didn't wear the face mask. So I think that sometimes it's also takes interpersonal skills to express ourselves. You know, don't get mad to others. Why don't you wear face masks when you're talking to me? You know, why didn't you keep the social distancing? But sometimes in the just to use they'll have a sense of humor and you know, like, and smile to them and make a joke about it. And I think maybe it's you know, they will understand. They will joke around, and then, however, and then they will know your position, know how you feel about it. So there's no one way to get things done. Sometimes it just takes some our courages and the skills, and also always keep our mind positive, even in very difficult situations. And then other people will feel, actually feel the positive energy of your mind. However, if we get mad, and even they realize maybe they did something wrong, and that they won't change. Sometimes it's just things happening like that. Keep ourselves positive. That's the key. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable. I will now take the last question of today's talk. So someone asked, I saw the news that many Asian people were attacked or beaten up because of the virus, whom people believe that it comes from Asia. And as a Buddhist, you know, as Buddhism, it encourages endurance. Should we speak up or should we stay quiet? What to do? What should we do or think if someone is being racist to us?
I think even though it's rare in compare with most of the people in the world, in the country, I think most of the people are very friendly, very understandable, are actually very logical and reasonable on these things. Some very racist comments or actions from others, it happened, and it happens more often nowadays because of the pandemic, and also because of some even high rank officials' words, because of those are all having effects on people's mind. And most of the people who are discriminative, they are actually are emotional, are not really thinking about things very logically, or they have a very deep down inside the discrimination in their mind. How to deal with it? I think definitely we can, as Asians or anyone, to express ourselves in, I would encourage people to do that in a safe way. And I noticed that there are petitions to the White House and to the government to express the concerns about the discrimination against Asians. But we just need to do this way rather than to have confrontations with those people who are having the discriminated actions to others. The fighting it's never been the first choice. Through the legal ways, legal path, and also to have understandings with, I think, the larger population, and then eventually we can get things changed and get better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Huidong, for answering all the questions in the Q&A. And thank you very much for your guidance. We appreciate your time and effort in enlightening us. Your words are truly very, very helpful at these very, very difficult times. I am on behalf of BLA Boston. I would now like to invite the president of BLA Boston, Guo Liang Hui Zhang, president, for a closing speech. Please, President Guo Liang.
Auspicious greeting to Venerable Huidong and Venerable Jue Qian and all BLIA members and all the friends who join us tonight. Once again, we are very happy and honored to have Venerable Huidong with us tonight to give us a public talk to all of members, devotees, and friends, not just all around North America, but perhaps we do have friends who are joining us tonight or at this moment from all around the world. I would like to thank our advising Venerable Jue Qian, who is compassionate and to help us to invite different speakers monthly for both English and Chinese public talk. Last but not least, I'm very grateful that our BLIA Boston members, temple devotees, and friends can come together at this moment to continue cultivate Dharma during this pandemic. I'm sure that through Venerable Huidong's talk tonight, we obtained a lot of inspiration and understanding in the Dharma, such as now that we should know how to face COVID-19 pandemic with a positive mindset, how to live a healthy and happy life. And most importantly, we are now more committed to uphold the truth, which is the law of cause and effect. And not to forget to continue or at least start practicing the act of three goodness. On behalf of BLIA Boston chapter, I would like to take this opportunity to present the offering from members and devotees to Venerable Huidong as a token of honorable, and appreciation. So, Venerable Huidong, please accept our sincere offering. We will hand over the offering to Venerable Jueqian. She will then pass this offering to you when she meets you in person. Thank you. And let's return this microphone back to Guanghui.
Thank you very much. And I would like to pass that offering to the Boston Temple and the BLIA to help people in need out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable Huidong, for your compassion and generosity. On behalf of BLIA Boston chapter, we will donate this offering to Fo-Guang Buddhist Temple, Boston, for Fo-Guang Buddhist Temple, Boston maintenance. Once again, thank you, Venerable Huidong.
Thank you.
Guanghui.
Yep. Thank you, President Guo Liang, for your closing speech, and also thank Venerable Huidong for giving us an opportunity to redirect the donation to make good karma and to donate to our Buddhist temple, so that everyone in the Boston, everyone living here, all the Boston residents can be benefited from you and also from this public talk series. Before we adjourn, I would like to make the announcement for to announce the details for our next lecture. I would now share my screen. Okay. So it's an honor that for our next public talk series, we are able to invite Venerable Xingding to give us a public lecture. And the title of his talk in English is The Importance of Right Mind and Observation of the Wisdom. And in Chinese, it is 正思维以关照般若的重要性. Bear in mind that the language of the talk is in Chinese. The talk will be held on 27th of June, 2020, and is at 8 p.m. in Boston time. And you can stay tuned, listen to us using the same Zoom and YouTube link. Besides that, I would also like to announce that besides this public talk series, for Fo-Guang Buddhist Temple, we are having weekly English Dharma talk, which takes place on the virtual space, of course. And you can find the link by subscribing to the newsletter that you can find on our temple website. I will now ask the IT support for this session can you put the link in the chat room and also on YouTube, so that whoever is interested can sign up for the English Dharma talk series that takes place every Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Besides that, bear in mind that we also have another English public lecture series, and I would like to share the poster. Sorry. Yep. Okay. So similarly, we have another English Dharma talk series, which takes place on 4th of July, 2020 at 8 o'clock. It's the same YouTube and Zoom link. And it's an honor that we are able to invite Venerable Miao Guang to give us a talk. And the title of the talk is Heart Sutra on a Practical Perspective. I will stop sharing my screen now. So I would like to adjourn our session today. Thank you all for listening to our talk today. We hope you and your family are healthy and safe. Thank you, and see you in the next. Thank you, and see you in the next lecture.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.